It's a great little controller for a phone I'm not using much these days. The folks at Riot Power sent over their Xbox controller for iPhones. They wanted me to take it for a spin, share some thoughts, and immediately we're going to talk about Game Pass. Game Pass has been a solid companion service in our home, even though we haven't gotten a new Xbox recently. Between PC gaming and now game streaming over xCloud, it's pretty clear Microsoft currently wins the title of Netflix for gaming, both in access and library of titles. Along the way, we've been seeing more gaming accessories coming out for phones. The trend of sliding controllers, it's really hot right now. Controls that border your phone screen on some kind of little expandable hinge setup. I personally prefer the old school controller where we get some kind of clip-on mount so that we can keep our phone right above the controls. I've been playing with a bunch of different options for how we can attach phones to controllers. That's what we have here. It's a very familiar Xbox controller, officially licensed by Microsoft and designed to be used with an iPhone's Lightning connector. I don't use iPhones. I keep this old iPhone SE around just so I can keep up with apps and other accessory reviews. Accessories like this. So this little iPhone SE, it's a decently powerful phone, but from back in the day when I was trying to review it, it's such a tiny screen, it makes for kind of a miserable gaming experience. There's so little room for activities. But game streaming solves some of those issues. We don't have to deal with on-screen controls, we move all of the operation to hardware. I'm playing through the Safari browser, but at least I can drop a little shortcut, take me directly to xCloud in Safari. I would prefer a proper app to launch games and manage all my Xbox stuff, but we know how Apple is about playing nice with others. It's a little highlight though, it's the thing that makes Game Pass so accessible. It kind of feels the same no matter where you access it. And a controller immediately contributes to that. All the buttons and controls you would expect, quick share icon for clips, Xbox button for settings, menus, everything's here, everything's right where you would expect it to be. There's a simple snap-in arm for the phone clamp, and at the base of the controller, there's an additional lightning connector for pass-through charging. And you gotta love all the inventive ways we find to bring back the headphone jack. Like, it would still probably be better just to have the headphone jack on our phones still, but at least I can add an accessory to plug in some good headphones for when I'm gaming and I don't want the latency of Bluetooth. It's a handy overall solution. I mean, there's nothing in the controller like batteries or radios. So the pack weight, it's really light. I mean, it actually kind of takes you a second to get a feel for the balance because your phone is where most of the weight's gonna be, especially if you've ever gamed on a backbone or a GameServe style controller or on a Nintendo Switch for how the phone sits in between these strips of controls. On a controller mount like this, the screen sits up in front and your hands are a little closer together. You do get used to the higher center of gravity on this exact layout. When you're really gaming though, the bottom edge of your phone might start kind of obscuring some of the controls and buttons, but they're tactile. Your thumbs know where they are. You don't necessarily need to look at them when you're using them. The controller is compatible with some other gaming services like Amazon Luna, so you aren't just married to the Microsoft catalog. And that brings us to the price. It's a nicely built option, but it's also limited by using only a lightning connector. This cable is built into the controller. Immediately I would consider, hey, this could be a good solution if I want to game from a phone, then move over to an iPad, but that's not gonna fly as most modern iPads have moved to USB-C. The retail price of $69.99 brings up an interesting comparison with an official Xbox wireless controller, which can often be found for around 50 or 60 bucks. And there are some mounts you can use to attach a phone to that controller. So I'm not gonna say that the price is a deal breaker, but the Riot Power licensed controller has to be considered for a very specific consumer, namely an iPhone user who wants to play more on their phones and isn't concerned about owning a controller that can be used with any other computer or tablet or console. I have a handful of different computers and consoles and phones that I like to game on, so I can't say this is a great solution for me, but it strikes a targeted blow at solutions like the licensed PlayStation Backbone controller, which sells for $30 more than this. Controller solutions built specifically for iPhones can get a little pricey. And I'm really trying not to spread the FUD, but we also have to consider how many more years of life the Lightning connector has left given recent EU regulations and looking at the switch to USB-C. Right here, right now, this is a very competitive solution for the It Just Works crowd, focused on maximizing the gameplay. I do believe, however, there might be some consumers out there interested in shopping more flexible options that can work with phones, tablets, and PCs in roughly the same price tier. Just something worth looking into. I'm just kind of spitballing here. Riot Power, beautifully built, fits that Xbox aesthetic. This is a good solution. I feel some comparison shopping could be kind of fun too. So I will of course leave some links down below for more information on the Riot Power Xbox controller designed for iOS, where you can shop this bad boy online. As always, thanks so much for watching, for sharing these videos, and subscribing to the channel. All the support lately has been fantastic. Those of you clicking links below, checking out the home site, or joining the list of names scrolling by on your screen from my Patreon, patreon.com/SomeGadgetGuy. This list is basically the coolest collection of tech pals in the universe, so I hope you'll check them out. Now, you know where you can find me around the rest of the internet, at SomeGadgetGuy on the Twitters and the Twitch. So much fun, the Facebooks and the Instagrams, and I will catch you all on the next review.